Hello everybody, welcome to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler and this is Obligator Eldrazi. So this is a really cool card. I'll be honest, I can't really tell what's happening in this art, but regardless, this deck is pretty nice. So we're playing a Eldrazi deck, but it's red-green. It's not a flavor of Eldrazi you've seen before. We still have Ancient Stirrings. It turns out it's still a pretty good card here. These are all pretty good, but we'll take the land. That's what we can do here. Not sure what our opponent's on. We have, depending what they do, we have the turn 2 Eldrazi Obligator, I suppose. So that's a little bit of hasty damage. We'll get in there. We'll start the clock up. And we have the Smashers to beat down our opponents after that. That said, if they're playing some sort of combo deck, we'll see what happens here. Mono blue, huh? Okay, interesting, interesting. I can only imagine they're sitting on a counterspell, which makes me not want to run this out there right now. On the other hand, yeah, there's just no reason to. I'm just going to play the Temple here, and even though we could play the Obligator, when your opponent goes Island, Island, pass, you have to assume they're sitting on a counter. So we're going to, yeah, and they have the opt. That's fine. And I thought about burning it just to make them have to commit to counterspell or opt, but this is fine still. Actually, a blue-red deck, huh? All basics, though. This way, though, we can play the Eldrazi Obligator into the Smashers, and we'll return slower, but we make sure our cards actually resolve. Oops, there's no need to give our opponent life here. All right. All right, so we'll play this Obligator. In this, if our opponent does have creatures, we can still get one of them later, but I think they probably won't, and we're just going to try to beat them down very quickly here. The good news is, if this gets through, this puts our opponent to 18. The next swing will put our opponent to 10, and then we'll have another Reality Smasher following that up. So, don't know what our opponent's up to here. Is it just some sort of Blue Moon deck? Could be, I suppose. And we just hose them with the Cavernous Souls. It's possible. We are certainly in trouble if that's the case, though. I mean, I guess we can cast Eldrazi Obligator under a Blood Moon. Field of Ruin our Cavern. Yeah, makes sense. Well, it's fine. Our opponent has a Counterspell mana open still, and that's just probably the way it is. I don't think we can reasonably play around anything here. We could also just get through the Breach and kill next turn. That's something to keep in mind, but... So, you know, we could play Obligator. We still couldn't play for... We can't pay for Mana Leak no matter what we do, so we may as well just go for it here. Next turn, we might have a more interesting decision. Turns out Field of Ruin's also a very good card. I mean, our opponent might be able to get back in the game, and to be honest, unless they had Through the Breach Emrakul, we were going to win this game thanks to that Cavernous Souls, just by jamming Smashers in there until they die. With it gone, thanks to Field of Ruin, though, all of a sudden it's a very different game, and we have cards that are okay, but not necessarily great in the matchup, depending on if our opponent shows us a creature or not. I suppose it's also possible, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Okay, it might be it could be ooh, look at that, though. Nice draw right there. Okay. So we've got some options here. Let's go ahead and play this Smasher. Yeah, so I guess we'll go ahead and try to dismember this thing. I'm sure it's going to get countered, but... Yeah, it looks like our opponent's actually on the blue-red Pyromancer deck, the top 8 of the Pro Tour, so that makes sense. And we've been remanded, okay. That's still mostly fine. All that means is that our opponent gets to block the Eldrazi Obligator here. The thing is, if they actually do, and this might be sweet, if our opponent were to say tap out on their turn to flip this, we could steal it, the Awakened Horror, with the Eldrazi Obligator. Awoken Horror, as it turned out. But we'll see what our opponent wants to do here. They do have 5 lands and 5 cards in hand. Looks like they're doing something on the main phase here. Ah, roast, huh? Roasting our Reality Smasher. So now how does this work? I think transform means it goes to its owner's control. I'm going to look it up real quick, actually. Because what if I can steal it and then cast Dismember to take it? What about that, huh? That'd be something. I don't know the answer, but I really want to find out. Let's see here. I'm sorry, give me a second. This actually matters here in this game. It seems pretty relevant. I don't know the answer. Okay, here we go. I think I might have found it. I can't... okay, all right, here we go. All right, I can't actually find the answer, but maybe we'll maybe we'll force it out here. Okay, well then. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. You know what? That is exactly enough. So the answer, I think, is to try to dismember this thing now and actually hope that our opponent counters it. And going down to 1 counter on Thing the Ice, and then we basically want this to get remanded. If it's mana, okay, well, I mean, that works too, I suppose. So in that case, so we just go ahead and swing for 6. Probably. Our opponent only has blue mana, so we may as well. It's not that way we can get it in through burn or whatever. Somebody in YouTube comments can let me know, or we'll find out next game, perhaps. We flooded out pretty hard here, but we should have our opponent down to 4, so that's a start at least. So it turns out young Pyromancer tokens are very good against Eldrazi Obligators. Scavenging is also a nice draw, though. Alright, well, let's go ahead and attack here. We have done ourselves 8 damage with that Dismember, unfortunately, so that's not ideal. And they do have the spell, so that's kind of a blowout, to be honest. Opponent's down to 1 card in hand, and we're going to have a Scavenging Ooze here. And in fact, we do have to give them a card to do this, which is even more unfortunate. Alright, well, I think I want to get this thing out of bolt range. Probably as soon as possible here. I think it's worth giving my... Well, they have roast as well, and I can't actually get it out of roast range, so we'll just pass the turn back here. My opponent drew a land, so this is good for us. I'm not going to give them any more life. I will pay 2 life myself, though. Alright, well, let's see what happens here. Opponent goes for the block, which they were forced into, so that's good for us. Alright, looks like we may have cleared the way here. I suppose I should have played the bird in case we drew Kessig Wolfrun as our next draw. But it doesn't matter, we were able to get there. That was very close, though. Oh, they had a dead remand. Actually, glad we didn't cast a bird then. Alright, Pyromancer, huh? Kozilek's return, please. Engineered Explosives on 0 seems pretty good as well. And probably some relics here. I imagine our opponent's got graveyard stuff going on. We've got an Endbringer, I think. I do want the Dismembers. I think we can cut... On the draw, I kind of want the Mind Stone. We probably don't need that many Scavenging Oozes, though. And the Tracker doesn't seem insane here. Honestly, the Obligator is probably one of our worst cards. In fact, it's pretty bad. I hate cutting the namesake of the deck, but you know, it's possible we should run one Anger and one Explosives because the Anger can, you know, Explosives on 0 can take out tokens, but it's possible we can use Anger to also take out the Pyromancer itself along with it. I think it seems reasonable. The tracker is pretty slow. We don't necessarily need it. We just want to beat our opponent down and drown him out in value here. Just don't let him pop off with Pyromancer, and I'd say we're okay. This hand's a keep, I think. It's got the explosives if they have tokens that we need to deal with, but it's also just got reshapers, which are very good value regardless. And we'll have to fight through some number of counterspells, I'm sure, but that's sort of the name of the game. Anger of the Gods could be good. Now, our opponent went bottom with that, so they must be digging for land. That's something to keep in mind as well here. I could play the explosives on 0 immediately. That way it gets around a counterspell on this turn or something, but I don't think that that's going to be particularly relevant. All right, let's see if we can draw. That was a pretty good draw, to be honest. Great draw, as a matter of fact, but it turns out Eldrazi Temple is very broken. Our opponent won't be countering this, I believe, or they will. That's fine. Ceremonious Rejection gets on in there, but that's good. Honestly, just burning their spells now and being a turn ahead on the curve is just so important for us. Yeah, and there's honestly no reason not to just keep jamming these things in there. You know, we're got to work through the counterspells one way or another here. And there's the Snapcaster Ceremonious Rejection, so pretty good draw for our opponent against us. That said, you know, we're still going to be raining. They've taken care of some mana reshapers, which are great value for us. And they do have 5 cards in hand, but we're going to start raining Reality Smashers and see what sticks here. Might just be able to power right through it. Our opponent went card on top with Opt and then played Thing in the Ice. Huh? Okay. Unfortunately, Anger of the Gods does not kill Thing in the Ice, but Engineer Explosives for 2 does. Both of these lines die to Ceremonious Rejection, which means I actually think I'm going to play the Smasher because if I had to guess, I actually think that the Engineered Explosives is going to be the more relevant of the cards here. Wow, okay, well it was going to work, but I mean I guess playing a Reality Smasher and resolving it is a nice consolation prize. Alright, our opponent went top with that Opt. Yeah, our opponent's game plan is going to be flip this Thing in the Ice, and honestly, I thought if we were to, you know, if we were going to run into another Ceremonious Rejection there, I'd rather be on my Smasher. On the other hand, ooh, wow, they're just going to flip the Thing in the Ice now. Okay. Well, I need to find out then what the CMC of this thing is. Mana costs don't change, so I believe it's the same CMC. I think that's a rule they changed. I could be wrong, but we're certainly going to find out here. Well, this is going to resolve. The only question is whether or not it's actually going to kill this thing. And I don't know the answer to that, but we're going to find out right now. Fingers crossed. All right, it works. Okay, that's good. I think we probably want the second one in here no matter what then, if we don't have it in already. That's good, though. I mean, our opponent went in pretty hard on that, and it certainly was good for them. But now they're sitting on, unfortunately, they're sitting on Snapcaster. It's a nice, really nice piece of tech in that deck is to flip the Thing in the Ice and put Snapcaster back into your hand. It's a pretty nice thing. That said, well, we're just going to play an Eldrazi. And that Eldrazi is going to be Reality Smasher, and our opponent's not going to be able to counter it. Bolt us. Okay, well that can't be good. Snapcaster bolt us down to 4. We're at a virtual 2. Uh-oh. This is a bad sign. It's a very bad sign for us here. Yeah, we might just get tempoed out of a game we probably otherwise couldn't lose. Then again, they might. Depends what our opponent has in hand. I don't know if they're better off blocking. And they could have blocked and then used the bolt and discarded a card to get rid of our Smasher, but it's like instead they just want to try to kill us, which I can't say I'm surprised by. Okay, well, fingers crossed we're not dead. We are at a virtual 2, and unfortunately we are 1 short of... Oh, there's another Snapcaster. Well, this means they can't Lightning Bolt us, so do they just have Bolt in hand, maybe? Or another Snapcaster? A lot of ways we're dead here, it turns out. Very few ways in which we're not dead. Okay, that's a lot of Snapcasters. Good game. All right. Want the Graveyard Hate. I don't know if I really... Well, I guess we just want the other Scavenging Ooze. Maybe I should... On the draw, it seemed a little slower, but... Maybe we just want it no matter what. I think we can give this one a shot. It's possible we don't want the Anger of the Gods, and instead I just want an Endbringer back in here, or maybe even the Ovenwall Tracker, now that we're on the play. We'll give this one a go. We have the explosives to deal with the tokens, and to be honest, we should have enough removal to just kill the thing. Alright, definitely keeping this one. Double Smasher and Noble Hierarch certainly is going to beat down, especially with Cavern of Souls to back it up. Gonna have to deal ourselves a little bit of damage, but c'est la vie. Well, our hand last game was really good. That was the power of Thing in the Ice right there, because we had a pretty good hand, to be honest. All right, our bird has been bolted. Ooh, Lay Tracker. Get on in there. Got a 1/1. They can beat down. Unfortunately, we don't have a turn 3 reality, or gosh, we're actually a ways off of Reality Smasher. Having our Hierarch killed there was pretty rough. The tracker was certainly nice, but it was our hand looked a lot better when we had a piece of mana ramp in it. Oh, man. Okay. Well, I wouldn't say any of this is ideal. I will use this opportunity to resolve a explosives for 2. All right, well, this isn't great for us. We need to draw either good cards or land. Eldrazi Temple would sure be nice. And here comes Snapcaster Bolt on our tracker. Well, our opponents had a pretty good hand here as well. Removal into Serum Visions into Snapcaster removal on turn 3. See if we can rip a worst possible card off our deck off the top. Okay, well, that is what it is, I suppose. I mean, we think I have like 3 to 4 draws that are that bad, and we drew one of them. So I'm going to let this happen. That way they, you know, at least can't play a Pyromancer or something out here. But I would say that things are not looking up for us. This card's great if you can cast it. Usually not a problem in Modern, but... Alright, well, I have to do this just because we have to not die, and our opponent doesn't have blue mana here, so we can play another one. Okay, we just got good at Magic. All right, well, let's see if we can do it here. What a lucky rip off the top. Better lucky than good, am I right? It's going to be hard for our opponent to deal with. They need islands. They need basically Thing in the Ice, but we are just going to rain down Reality Smashers for a minute here. And there's a Pyromancer, sure. Problem with that is that Pyromancer is very good. However, these Reality Smashers do have trample, and there are going to be plenty of them. The Eldrazi, they come in waves out of the moon or something. I don't remember the story of Innistrad. Something like that. They come out of the void, the nether void, the otherworldly void. I don't know what they call it in Magic, but I know the Emrakul's in the moon now. That's what I was told the other day. All right, so our opponent did not have a 4th land, which is pretty terrible for them, to be honest. So we're going to go ahead and play another Smasher here. And this is going to be enormously difficult for our opponent to beat. Next turn, yeah, I'll hold the explosives. You know, I could play it for 0 now. I couldn't kill the token, but I could, you know, have it around a counterspell. But our opponent is in all likelihood just dead here. Imagine this blue-red deck if Gitaxian Probe was still legal. Man, it'd be so easy to flip Thing in the Ice. All right, you are going to roast a Smasher, and unfortunately, my friend, I'm just going to play another uncounterable Reality Smasher and kill you. And as a matter of fact, they're just dead anyways here. Well, they need more spells, but this takes care of one Reality Smasher. But they still need to, they still trample from the other one. Yeah, man, ripping Eldrazi Tipple off the top just took this game from, I don't think we can win, we're so far away from doing anything, to, oh, okay, well now it's Reality Smasher 3 turns in a row, and you're stuck on 3 lands. That's pretty broken, as it turns out. Our opponent's not technically dead on board here. They would only take 2, but they are quite dead to this Reality Smasher. And this Engineered Explosives, it turns out. We drew a land, so we can pop it anyways. Well, look at that. You did get our... You even got a token. That was probably the best, you know, that's probably what our opponent wanted. Now they actually have enough power to kill one Reality Smasher. Unfortunately for them, it was all a trick. We have another Reality Smasher, and that should be game. We've been sent a message. LOL. Yeah, Reality Smasher's pretty stupid. I agree. Anyways, there you go. That is Eldrazi. That is Obligator Eldrazi taking down Blue-Red Pyromancer. It was a Pro Tour top 8 deck we just knocked off. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern.